V'hinei la'achar habirur nishabe mehen hamalochim. He's going through now the process, toyu v'tikun, how there was a shviras hakelim, and later on they fell into the level of the Gashmis, into Klipas Noiga, into the various different areas that they need to be later on sorted out and brought out from there. So he says, V'hinei la'achar habirur. So after the birur, nishaba mehem hamalochim. Then the malachim were created. Malachim, Michael v'Gabriel. And also, Pnei Aryeh Pnei Shoir, the face of the lion and the face of the ox, were all created after the birur from the Shviras HaKelim and Shekoichum Rave Otzum. I guess the Aryeh and the ox, they have a very powerful strength. Umehem hu shenimshach hachayis gam lebehemes v'chayis v'oifes gashmim shebe'olam hazeh. And from them extends the chayis also into the physical animals and birds, the physical that are in this world. I think what he also wants to say here, that they have a lot of koyach. I mean, that's why the animals are powerful, because those are the Pnei Aryeh and the Pnei Shoir. So he says like this: the Kamoy Shagimul Shutfim Ba'odom, just as we have three partners by the person, you have the father and mother, and then the Eibishter. The Eibishter gives the neshama. Is keinu bebehema. So the same thing is really by behema. Elo sheba'odom HaKadosh Baruch Hu noisim by neshama. By a human being, the Eibishter gives a soul. Ubebehema nimshach hanefesh mechayis hamerkava. And by an animal, the soul extends and comes from the chayis of the merkava. That's the soul of the behema. So there's a third element besides the physical element. The animal, it's born by its mother and father, but it has also that third part, which is the spark. It's the nefesh that comes from the chayis merkava. So he says like this: Ki nefesh kol hachayis hu mibchinas pnei aryeh shebemerkava. The soul of all chayis comes from the pnei aryeh, from the level of the pnei aryeh shebemerkava. The nefesh kol habehemis, and the nefesh of all the behemis hu mibchinas pnei shoir, comes from the ox. So the chayis, the untamed animals come. The undomesticated animals, the wild animals, that comes from the Aryeh. And all of the tame animals, the behemoths, they come from the Pnei Shoir. And the soul of all the birds comes from the Pnei Nesher of the Merkab. Elo, shehabehemoths v'chayis v'oifes gashmiyim. But the animals, the tame and wild animals, physical ones, nilkahu mebchinas hashmorim shaloi nivreru adai. They have been taken from the level of the sediments that have not yet been sorted out. So there is the shmorim, the leftover from the angels, or from the chayis, from the Pnei Shoir and the Pnei Nesher. but it's not been sorted out yet. When you bring the fat and the blood onto the Mizbeach, and they get elevated in the fire of above. So this also arouses in all the steps above the source of the animal. When you're bringing up the chaylev v'dam and the mizbeach to the fire above, a fire that comes from above, you're elevating the animal, so all the sources get elevated again. Ad shenoisen koyach v'oiz b'chayis hakodesh, to the extent that you give power and strength in the holy chayis, liyos noisos unesuos imakise. They should carry and also be carried, because they carry and they're carried as well with the kisei. Shemisalim bibiya el mokim shorshom ba'olam hatoyu. They are elevated from the level of Bria Yitzira Asiya to their source of the root in the world of Toyu, in which there is Oiris Merubim, the lights there are many. How does this elevation take place? That takes place to the Kohen. The Kohen is the one that is makar. Hikishem shalamato. Halo asachayis min habehema. Hu alidei hakoyen shachesed, just as the below. The way we bring up the chayis from the animal is through the kohen, which is ish hachesed. He elevates the energy from the behema into the fire. Shehu bechinas yimin mekareves lehaloisa lemaila. That's the level of the right hand that brings it close to elevate it above, to reach out from the right hand to bring it up above. Also above, kohen is the spheres hachesed that elevates and reaches out to raise the chayis and the kisei and the merkava to the level of toy. Ach ich chesed is chesed. There's two levels of chesed. There is chesed the legav, the chesed the lebav. Chesed of the external and chesed of the inside. V'hinei b'chinas chesed the legav, the rav chesed. Sorry, chesed the legav is the inside and lebar is the outside. So v'hinei b'chinas chesed the legav v'rav chesed, the level of the inner chesed, and that's called also rav chesed, hu b'chinas kohen elyon shelamayla matzilus. That's the supreme kohen, which is higher than atzilus. That's the chesed to bring up from atzilus to the olam hatoyu, versus the chesed the labar, which is to elevate from biyah into atzilus. Ein mashakosu beparshas tetzave al posik v'osiso bigdei kodesh u'bepri Etz Chaim shar yud beis perik ches v'ayin oid bezoya reish parshas Yisroi daf samach zayin omid beis b'inyan ismelech le'elo. There is a king above. U'techuse is kohen belom. There is kohen chulu b'pirish ramashom. Discusses this idea of kohen. The who, that level of kohen elyon, is Hamailes, Hamalochim, the Biyah. He brings up the Malochim of Biyah, B'shorshom Hanal, into the root that we mentioned before. The Haim, when you raise the Malochim, then they, Noisus as a Kisei. They carry the Kisei. Not only the Kisei, they also V'gam Demus Kimare Odom Sha'ala Kisei. Also the Musmar Odom, that because that's on the Kisei, Kerv also. Heim Magbim Liyos Ha'aliyah Ma'atzilus. They, Malachim, they bring it up that should be the elevation of Atzilus. Sheshom HaKelim Merubim, over there's a lot of Kelim. So they bring it up from Atzilus with the Kelim Merubim, V'lamayla Ma'atzilus HaSheshom Ha'irus Merubim, into higher than Atzilus, with where the lights are many. This is also the idea what the pasuk says, that Seraphim Aimdim Mimal Loi, that the Seraphim are standing higher than him, or Mimal Loi, or elevating him. Pirush. It means Kavayochel, as if to say, Sheheim Mailim Bechinas Odom Sha'ala Kisei, that they are elevating the level of Odom that is on the Kisei. Kizehu Inyan Hamerkova, because this is the idea of the carriage. What does it mean? Kemoi Hasus, like a horse. That he leads the rider to a place that the rider can't get himself. The horse takes him there. So, in a way, the Seraphim, the Malachim, through the Korbanos, they elevate to the level of Odom, that is Ala Kisei, the levels of Atzilus, into the level of Toyu, to the greater level of where there is more oilis than Kelim, versus the way it's an Atzilus where there's more Kelim than oilis. It says by Korbanos, Lachmi li Ishoy, it's my bread that goes to the fire. Pirush. Just as bread vitalizes the person, although the level of the human is higher than the bread, the person is an intelligence, and the bread is growing, so the medaber is greater than the mitzameach. But yet, the bread and the food vitalizes him. How is that? So we're saying lachmelish saying by the Eberster. Well, how is that? How does food, which is tzemeach, how does it vitalize a person who's a bar seichel? Because their root of the lechem is higher than the person. By the person, it's stated ocher v'kedem tzaratoni. Ocher because ocher l'maisa b'reishis chulu. He is the back of creation, meaning he was created the last, on the 6th day of creation. All this, they came before him, the first day of creation. Why is that? Because they come from the world of Toya, which is higher than Tikkun. They were created first also. But because they come from a higher source, that's why they came down lower. So because of the Maila, the advantage of the Tzeimeach, that it came down from a higher place through the Shviras HaKelim, that's why there is power in that sorting out, that the bread was been sorted out in the stomach, in the liver, That's why it can connect. It can give the energy to the person to connect the soul with the body. And that's why food, which is semeach, sustains a person who's a medaber, who's a bar seichel, because the source is ocher, they come from a higher source. This is also the meaning on what comes out of the Pi Hashem is the person lives. What does it mean? Moitze Pi Havaya, Pirush Moitze Moker. The word of Moitze means source. Kamoy, like we see Moitze Mayim, the source of the water. Water comes from. The Hainu Moker V'Shoirish. So we say when the person lives, he lives from the source of the bread. That's from the level of Toyu, where there was the Oiris Merubim, where there was the Shvira. That's the Moitza Pi Havaya. Pirush Havaya Shalamaylo Mahatzilus Chulu Sheyeshna Balachem. That means the Havaya, which is higher than Atzilus, that exists in the bread. Nikra karbones lachmi liishoy. That's why also the karbones are called my bread that goes to the fire. Ishai, the lechem is liishai to my fire. These are the fires are the srofim. Those are the angels. Ishai heim hasrofim. Shem la'achar abiru. The srofim are already after they've been sorted out. The Hainu Shehem B'Bchinas Bittel, they're already in the level of subjugated. They have been sorted out. Michoel Bituloi Be'ava. Michoel's Bittel expresses in his love the Klois HaNefesh and expiring of the soul. Gavriel Be'yira. And Gavriel is through fear. Zois Michael Kisa. Cool. They're sweating from the Chel Kisei, meaning they're in a level of bittul. And still, while they're in the level of bittul, they were sorted out, but they're still limited. Also, angels have lights and vessels, and the vessels of the Malachim limit them. That's why, explain, they say 3 times Kodesh. But each one Kodesh lasts them for 4 hours of the day. So they have to say it 3 times because they're limited, so it expires. Therefore, Kodesh that they say, it causes impacts and expiration of the soul for 4 hours, but not more because it's limited. Then you have to say again Kodesh. And that is le'oirer ha'ava, to awaken again that love and the expiration of the soul and the subjugation. And that's why in the 12 hours of the day they say 3 times, because it's limited, it only lasts. That means that there is a kelim, there is a hakbola also by the malach. Therefore, the korban that we bring a physical animal, before it has not been sorted out. It's from the Shmorim, not sorted out, from the Efanim. It's much lower than the level of Malachim that have already been sorted out. So it becomes the bread also for my Ishai, for these Srofim, Hema Malachim HaSrofim, Al Yidei Shemizbareres Al Gabi HaMizbeach, by being sorted out on the Mizbeach. That's the physical animal that provides sustenance for the Ishai. Dahainu shegoyrem aliyah hamalochim aliyas hamalochim b'mekoyrem b'shorsham. It causes the elevation of the angels in their source and root, shema'olam hatoyu, which is in the world of Toyu, shalamaylam hakelim hamakbilim, which is higher than the vessels that live it. So v'aderech shalechem gashmi chayes ha'odom shehu lefi shebeshorshe gavoya yoser mi'ha'odom. The reason why the bread physical can vitalize the person, it's because the root of the bread is higher than the person. That's why it fell lower. So likewise, the physical animals that have been taken from the level of these sediments, one that have not been sorted out, hine b'shorshom, but in their root, has been taken from the world of Toyu. From a higher level than even the root of the Chayes HaMerkava. So they are from the Shmorim, from the Chayes HaMerkava, but the root of the Behema Gashmis comes from a higher place than them. And that's why the reason they fell lower. That's why they came down into this world and not in a nivredi, and not in a sought out state. As known the parable, when the wall falls down, that a higher place in the wall, when it falls lower or further, it falls lower. When they are sorted out on the mizbeach, the chelev and the dam that you bring on the mizbeach, and you're mivarerim, nase bechinas lecha bechayis lebechinas ishai hemasrofim chulu. That becomes a bread and an energy to the level of the srofim, to the level of ishai, which are the srofim. So physically, with the fire, with the mizbeach, that took place when there was a physical mizbeach. But the ato, now that we don't have the mizbeach, hatefilo hi b'mokum korbanos. When we daven, that takes place of the korbanos. Nefesh elikis av she'enet tzricha tikkun. The godly soul, although it does not require correction, mikol makoim ahavoso mugbelis, its love of the nefesh elikis is limited. Why? Lefi shenilkecha mibchinas gevul, because it comes from a level of gevul. Kikam oilam habriya shemisham nimshach b'chinas neshama. For also the world of Bria, which the level of neshama comes from there, Ubal Gavul is a limited. And for sure, the level of ruach that comes from nefesh asiyah. V'yefsher lahaneshama lagia lebchinas b'chol meidecha bli gvul. Cannot reach the level of b'chol meidecha bli gvul. Ki'im. It's chof aleph, correct?
Yes.
Ki'im.
Yes.
Ki'im al yidei birur nefesh habahamis dafke. You have to sort out the nefesh habahamis for the nefesh alikis to get the level of b'chol meidecha. Shehu koidem habirur v'shorsha metoyu chulu. And that is koyin the bira, and its root is from toyu, the nefesh habahamis. Ba'al derech hanal bepirush lachmi liishai, similar to what we explained before in the lachmi liishai of the korbanos. Chulu. That's through the source of the nefesh habahamis. When the nefesh alikis sorts out the nefesh habahamis, it gets from the higher level, from the level of the nefesh habahamis, which comes from toyu. V'zehu inyan, and this is the idea of reach nechoyach lahashem. Reach hu halo mimata l'maylo. The reach is the elevation from below to above. U'kemoshul hareach sha'oila u'meishi v'sanefesh. Like the level of the smell that goes up and brings back the soul. That's the level of reach. B'hainu b'chinas kriya shema. That's the level of shema. Shema is the level of halo. And then it comes the level of nechoyach. Nechoyach is whose target to go down the level. To bring down from above to below to avaya. Reach nechoyach lavaya, to bring down to lavaya. This is the level of Shmoyne Esrei. Baruch ato havaya, to bring down havaya. Shochas Ein Sof Lamato, to bring down the Sof Lamato. That is accomplished through Tefillah, which is b'makom korbanos. And he says, V'chein ha'toiro yibechinas hamshochas Ein Sof. Torah is also the level of hamshochas Ein Sof. So, and this is the meaning of al shloisha dvorim ha'olam oimed. The world stands on three things: al ha'toiro, v'al ha'avodah, v'al gvulos chasodim. Why these three things? Avodah b'chinas halo. Avodah is the level of elevation. That's the reach. The nechoyach, the Torah gvulos chasodim, heim b'chinas hamshocha. They're the levels of hamshochas that we bring down below.